work across the government, corporate, and community sectors. And so I am here today because I was a teacher in urban education, high schoolers as well as in university for 15 years. And I believe with all my heart that education and knowledge is the path to empowerment and freedom. And so I want to impart anything I can to help you all along your way.
Thank you, Jackie. Natalia.
My name is Natalia Pedroza. I am the Senior Manager for Diversity and Inclusion at Nestle Waters. It's interesting. I really admire you just for what you just said. But the reason why I'm here is because the campus work that we do is so critical. Anything that we can give back. I myself am an immigrant, and I remember what that was like, and knowing that my parents didn't speak the language. For me, it's critical at this time to give back, and to give back to you as my upcoming community.
We're glad to have you. Thank you so much. Silvana.
Hi everybody, my name is Silvana Marmoleros. I feel so grateful to be sitting next to these amazing women next to me that are all making a change. I am the External Relations Director at the Council of Urban Professionals, and we help professionals of color have the access that they need so that they can move on within their respective industry and sector. We have courses for our fellows, and we provide a network for them so that they can have, the things that they need. Sometimes necessarily they don't always have access to it, so we're out here trying to make a difference and provide that access to a lot of professionals of color.
Thank you so much. Charmian.
Excellent afternoon, everyone. I am Charmian Kinder. I'm the Communications Director for Discovery Education. We're an education technology company that focuses on providing education technology for students in K through 12 in the areas of STEM and math and agriculture and a number of other areas. My next question is, how many people in here intend on changing the world? Two. That's good. I'm going to ask again. How many people in this room intend on changing the world? All the hands, absolutely. This is a leadership conference, and so that's why I'm here. We're going to get this done.
Love it. Okay, so yes, we've got some girl power up here. Yes, give a round of applause, everybody. And so we're going to start off, we're going to go right into it. Please, can you give these students a specific experience? We're all sitting down here, they're looking to get in a career, and what was something that ignited your guys' interest to where you're at now? Was there a specific event, something you said yes to? What was it that defining moment for your guys that kind of put you where you're at right now?
So for me, I grew up in Washington, D.C., born, raised, and proudly publicly educated. And so my home environment coming up wasn't ideal, let's just say that. There are a lot of less than ideal circumstances there. And so for me, school was a sanctuary in a lot of ways. I grew up in a time in D.C. where I had a lot of teachers of color who believed in not only just teaching me the curriculum, but teaching me to be proud of like my past and my history of who I was. And so that was like a turning point for me, right? Knowing that through knowledge, through words, through study, that I could change my life, that I could not, I didn't have to reproduce a lot of what I was experiencing as a young child. So education was for me in school, and having one or two teachers who really saw something in me was really an opportunity for me to get on the path to where I am now.
Thank you, Jay.
For me, it really was where I came from. And I really think about my own social background, what it was like. I grew up in Louisiana, and I remember the things we faced as a family, and I think about the issues that we had, and I always wanted to champion for the better. I always wanted to assume positive intent, but I really wanted to take a job on, which is my job with diversity and inclusion, where I could champion for the better. So I want to be that change agent, right? And that's part of the reason why we're all here.
For me, I grew up in North Miami. I went to North Miami Senior High. I'm a proud public school student too. I had access to what was called the magnet programs and international baccalaureate programs, and because those programs provided accelerated learning, I was able to have access to some things that I saw a lot of students didn't have access to. So knowing that and continuing, my path, my parents actually, my mom happened to be a business owner as an immigrant, and I was very young. I knew no other way than my mom held the business down and I held my house and my two sisters down. And so I had a lot of responsibility early on. People ask me, when did you become a project manager? You know, and I'm like, well, actually, I was 7 in my house. And I was taking care of my sister, and I was helping make sure that their grades were how they needed to be, that the house was the way that it needed to be, and sort of like be my mom's right-hand man until my stepdad came into the picture. I grew up in a bicultural home. My stepdad's from Grenada, my mom is Dominican. And so, like, you know, I knew the struggle sometimes that you kind of grow up with when you kind of are different. And so that's something that really impacted me. And in the same areas that I went to school, and you might be familiar with, is like where Trick Daddy is from, or where Pitbull grew up. And I then later got offered a great opportunity at NBC, then Telemundo at the time, to do Pitbull's first reality show way back when. I was a student like you guys. I was in the university, and it was my second year of college, and I was asked to be an assistant producer in this show. And I said, you know what, I want to take this opportunity, not look back. At the time I was studying law, I had to change my major, and I seized that opportunity in that moment, later to know that that was going to be a great path for me and lead me into television. And then after doing a lot of community work within the television sector, it led me to the nonprofit space, which is where I am now. So it is a journey, and it's okay to not have all the answers. I was a student like you when I got off of that internship, so my passion and my calling is to try to also be a lending hand and pay it forward.
Thank you so much for sharing.
I guess there was a moment in time. What grade were you going when the former president was elected to office? 6th grade? Okay. So I asked you about changing the world because at a time I was at a corporate job, the Ad Council of New York, and Barack Obama was a senator running for president. I had been in a lot of corporate spaces. I hadn't seen a lot of people that looked like me. I had been, when we got out of college, a lot of folks said, oh, this is going to be really, really hard for you to get into corporate culture, to get a corporate job. And one of the questions I always asked myself was, why? I'm a communicator by trade. And so I'm always looking to work on communications campaigns that talk a little bit more about what we are as a full America. Barack Obama was running for office. I quit my job. I moved to Missouri, and I was an organizer for his campaign. We won. And the single most important moment I remember in that journey was walking into the White House and calling him Mr. President for the first time. We were told that was impossible. And it was just, after that, I only worked jobs that allowed me to actually do what we come in the room to say we're going to do, because I know that there is nothing impossible. There is nothing out of reach. There are no limits on the creativity and the ideas and the passion that you have and that you bring. And because I've seen that manifest for myself in my own career, it's changed the way that I go about forming it and doing my work.
Thank you so much. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we have the final addition to our panel. Please give it up for Erica Ray! Yourself, and then the first question was, please share us a moment, a defining moment, experience that kind of got you to where you are today.
Sure.
We're getting there. Yeah, take my one too.
Hi there. I apologize. I just came from DC, and I understand I'm on the panel with a former, or with my, I should say, my colleague, HU.
Yes, you know.
All right. All right. So, as I was coming, I was thinking, by the way, I'm Erica Riggs, and I work for, right now, I work for the Advertising Club of New York. We are a nonprofit trade organization. I run the foundation, and I create all of the talent pipeline programming from internships, high school programming, mid-level fellowships for women who are what we call rising stars, who need access, and a whole lot of other things. I am tasked with making sure that the advertising and marketing community isn't homogenous, and it just doesn't have one point of view. And I do that in a multitude of ways. And what got me to that place? I have always been Harriet Tubman all my life. And that's because I come from what I've always known is an amazingly strong culture of African American women and men. And I have never had a problem thinking that someone's cheese or grass was greener or tastier than ours. So it was just a natural thing for me as I moved around. My father was in sales, and so I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. Go Cowboys! And then we moved to St. Louis. We went to Maryland, Columbia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania, and Long Island. And we quickly moved out of Long Island and settled back into Virginia. And it was because of those experiences, I was always the one and only. I was always new. So I had to learn very quickly how to navigate in those moments where I had an accent when I came from Texas. I used to say, hurry up and I'm finna go. And people thought that was like too crazy. So I had to learn quickly how to feel good about myself and not allow other people to tell me who I was. So that leads itself into what I do now, which is equality advocacy. I advocate for everybody who's other and different, but unique and magical and wonderful to be a part of the table.
Thank you so much.
It touched me. Give her a round of applause.
And I hope you guys are recognizing a pattern. It's only been less than 24 hours since we've all gotten together, but how many times have you heard a lot of the same things from other speakers, whether it be from Kevin, whether it be from Josh, whether it be from one of the panelists? You guys are hearing these same things over and over again. There's like an echo in the room. If you're hearing these things over and over again, what do you think? It's probably true, right? So just as they pour their wisdom, their experience on it, just know that they're speaking from a place that they want to pour into you guys. And I did not do them justice on their introductions. If you guys read their bios, these ladies up here are, one day that's where you want to be, okay? And so there is power in your story. And as we learned from our speaker last night, we have to share that story. And I want to thank them for the vulnerability in sharing that this morning. So our next question, we've got a bunch of students here, and you guys are all about putting people in the right place and mentoring and coaching. What are some things that you guys would recommend as they are looking into careers, to getting internships? What are some strategies that maybe some of their colleagues or their cohorts are not doing or thinking of? So please give them some nuggets that would give them this insight tracker, let them know what they don't know, and try to getting these opportunities.
I'm going to go with that one. First, you should speak to Erica because they run a wonderful program for interns. I've actually hired interns from that program. But the most important thing that you can do is really self-advocate. You have to be networking. You have to be going to an event. When you're at an event, you should meet an additional amount of people that you don't know. The truth is, to get internships, it's hard. You're competing. Like if I post, and I'll give you a number, if I post an internship, I will have 3,000 applicants within 2 weeks, which is just the beginning of it, right? So you have to learn how to compete in a very virtual space. So how can you compete? You can put on it. I look for students that volunteer. I think that really says something about their culture, about where they're coming from. I think it's what we're looking for. We have volunteering in our intern program, but it's important that you're really leveraging your social media, that you have a LinkedIn profile, that you're connecting with your school, that you have your school champion for you, and then along with that, that you're really putting your resume together in the right way. It sounds like a simple formality, but a resume to a recruiter really is a first pass at who you are. So that resume can't be like a standard Google template that you found. It should really resonate to who you are and talk about what skills you have. But that networking piece is the most critical part.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna just add to what she has to say, and that is, it's social media time. I know that Instagram is something that a lot of you all, constantly, like doing all those wonderful things, but we do look at that. So if I see your ass, excuse me, can I curse?
I will allow it.
Okay.
Josh took executive freedom there. I allow it.
You are taping, so that's not so bad. But if I see that, if I see other things that I feel are inappropriate in what I would consider certain cultures, then yeah, you do kind of get swiped to the left and keep moving. So we do look at that. And in college, you have to really start thinking that your social media is also your brand. So how you want to brand yourself, that's how you should be thinking about how you curate who you are on social. The other thing is, I'll be honest with you, I am so amazed at how many people will send me a very informal email. So how you communicate is my pet peeve. So if you send something to me and you say, "Hi Erica," and my name is Ericka, don't get it twisted. And then you say, "Hi Erika," and I'm like, I don't know who that Erica is. That tells me that you haven't taken the time to really look. And so I feel like, so that you won't find yourself in those types of traps, because I'm not the only grammar snob out here. I'm pretty sure everyone joins me here. I need for you to say, "Hello, Miss Riggs." Until you get to know someone, don't assume that informal is the way to go. Okay? Be formal until someone says, "No, call me Erica." Okay? So that's 1. 2. And the other thing that I look for is how engaged you are in school, because this is truly where you're actually getting your wealth right now. So if you're an engaged student, you're in clubs, you're not just in clubs, but you're active, that's also a telltale sign that, that's who, I want someone who's willing and curious. But I also want you to be able to write, speak properly, and then represent yourself. So your brand, how you communicate, and how engaged you are really informs a lot of information to me.
That was really great, thank you. I'll share my first internship story. And my first internship actually knocked on my door. My mom was handling the business, and I was with my 2 younger sisters. And I don't know about your house, but in my house, we had to clean on Saturdays. Like, from the morning, tie your hair up and washing clothes, and you're doing what you need to do. And I was the oldest of 3 sisters, and I was with a broom cleaning when a lady knocks on my door by the name of Annabelle Estevez. She was a lawyer, Esquire, young woman, and she said, "Hi, I'm running for council, and I'm here. I just want you to vote for me. I want to tell you some of the things that I want to implement for the city." And at the time, I was a sophomore in high school, and I was really into political science. Like, you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to get into politics in the future. And I said, "I love what you're doing. You're a young woman. I believe what you stand for. Can I start knocking on doors with you? Can I start going with signs with you? I really want you to win. I think you're going to make a difference." She really impacted me in her delivery on what she was going to do for the community. And so she said, "Absolutely." And I started just to volunteer with her, knock on doors with her, and learn her lingo and try to help her win. We ended up not winning. She lost to an incumbent. It was going to be a tough situation. She's like, "I really don't think I might win," but I'm like, "Yes, you are going to win." I really thought she was going to win. I was all about girl power, and it just taught me a lot about life. But then I didn't lose. Why did I not lose? She then came back and said, "In my office, I need an assistant, and I can find no one better than you. I need you to come help me with my, phone calls and administrative work." And that led to an internship. So what I'm saying is, people are always looking at everything you're doing and paying attention. Never do something because you think about, what's going to be the outcome for you. Do it in all genuineness because you gravitate towards it, because you want to do it. And it'll just happen on its own, and that's how I think a lot of things have happened for me. And I wanted to share that story with you because, as Erica was saying, people are paying attention to the things that you're doing, and you are your brand. And if you're genuine and you're authentic, people are going to see that.
Yeah, I would say I would love to have a wonderful story for you all about internships, but I always worked since I was 14. So I never had an internship. But every job that I had, it had to be enough to provide for me to take care of myself while I was going through school. And generally I tried to choose a job that was a passion of mine. So like my first jobs, I was a swimmer, right? That's what I did. So I was like, I'm going to be a lifeguard. And that's what I did. And that paid me really, really well. I think I earned more than other folks in my high school and at the time. And I always just really, 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 really worked hard, really, at everything that I did. So while I was going to work and while I was going to school, I don't know how out of the box it is to say that, to your point, Erica, the way you speaking and writing are critical foundational skills. And I know that we're in the age of social media, and as a former English teacher, right, like language is evolving. Like that's fine. Technology is forcing us, right, for our language to evolve. We're human, it should. But you should understand that most jobs today in the knowledge economy, right, regardless of what industry you're in, entertainment, a lot of them actually require you to be able to communicate and to be able to speak, right, and express your ideas on paper, whether it's a proposal, right, regardless. So I would just advise all of you to understand that, like, being able to communicate, to speak, to write clearly, right, in a compelling way, are really things that you should be really focused on getting better at. And if you're not great at it, look for opportunities, right? Own that it's a weakness or it's not, right? Even if you're in the sciences or you're going to be a doctor, you need to know how to speak, right?
The only addition I would say is, going to your career, one of the things I've always done, I've always considered myself the CEO of my own life, and I've really looked at things that drove me, that I was passionate about, companies I admired, issue areas I admired. I actually have an Excel grid that I've had for about 16 years where, and I sign up for Google Alerts. So if I see a company that has done a really great initiative, I'll pop them in my alert in my grid. And what has happened is I started attracting opportunities to me and people and issue areas to me that I was already passionate about and knowledgeable about. And so if I went to a gala or if I was coming to an event like this, my life mission is brainwashing babies towards excellence. And so all of my jobs have allowed me to do that. I worked at the Ad Council. I had a chance to work at Disney and philanthropy. As I mentioned, I worked for the former First Lady of the United States on Let's Move and Joining Forces. And so these dynamic opportunities have not only been blessings, but I've always been very clear about what I would like to do at the job, or sort of my North Star. So even if I needed to pivot to working at the Gap, which I've done it with excellence in mind, and I've done it with an overall understanding of where I'd like to go. And then I started affiliating myself with the people in the organizations and the after-school events and organizations in college that would allow me to practice leadership in those areas. And so I would say try to get, even if you don't know what you want to do or where you want to work, know what your life mission is, or start to identify what you would like to do with the days of your life on this earth. And then start to identify people who agree with you on that thing, and start to attract it to yourself. And so that will end up becoming your career.
Google is a beautiful thing. It is just like, you can do whatever you want. But I want to revisit Silvana's story real quick. She dropped the mic and she didn't even know it. I hope that you guys caught what she did, okay? She served somebody, okay? And look what that led to. One of my favorite sayings is serve your way to success. You never know where that next opportunity is going to come from. Whether you are volunteering at your hospital, with a nonprofit, at your church, a lot of those people, they are board members that you do not know who you're serving next to. And when you are passionate about something and you are serving people, they can't help but recognize it. And that's exactly what happened with Silvana. They said, I see that in you. I want you on my team. So when we are looking at volunteering and serving, do it with a heart, a passion, and that will help open up doors. So thank you so much for sharing that, but just serving your way to success will, I think, open a lot more doors than sending an application online. So just keep that in mind as you guys are looking for opportunities, because you do not know where they're going to come from. All right, so now let's fast forward. We've talked about how to get an internship, but once they get there, what are some mistakes you are seeing these people make? What would you like them to be equipped with when they get there to help them be successful, to help them then get a coach or mentor? But there are so many mistakes being made. I love your smiles. I see the head nods. Please, let's hear them.
So I run our intern program and our leadership development programs. And what I've learned after years of running these programs is the beauty of sending directions before the classes even start. Communications, once again, is the biggest one. When you're in a corporate setting, you really have to think about your style of communication, even understanding how to leverage meeting invites, the structure of them. All of that makes a difference. Some of the biggest mistakes I've seen are just in very slangish emails. And honestly, when we bring interns in, we want you to have exposure to the most senior level leadership, so you have that leadership experience. But the communications, even dressing inappropriately, even though we may send you the correct way to dress, prior to that. One of the tools that we built, if you guys haven't seen it, it's the NYC competency models of what is required for, in the sense of looking towards your vision of what you are as a graduate, right? You really have to think about that. What is it that you need to have when you graduate to be successful in your career? And I think that's what internships help build. But look at that competency model for NYC, because it's really about communication, technology, you know, the different ways that you show your leadership. That's the number one thing I would recommend all of you to look at, but really come in buttoned up. Come in buttoned up, ask the question before you make the mistake.
I'm going to say, because I think I'm going through the process right now of working with interns as we speak. That's kind of why I was late, because I was in DC talking to Howard students. And one of the things, okay, so don't dress for where you are today. Dress for where you see yourself in the future.
Preach!
Okay? I used to be a hairstylist, and that's why I can say what I'm about to say. There is a club hairstyle, there is a club weave, and then there is a professional weave, extension, or whatever. Look at that. Look at my hair. I'm natural right now, okay? But I have always been understanding the moment or the position I was looking at or I was a part of at that moment. So if I know that I'm going to be in a situation where they may not quite understand it. See, I have receipts right now, so I can kind of look and dress how I want to look and dress, but it's because I have receipts. I've worked really hard. People know my work, but there are times when I go into a meeting, and this is kind of toned down, and I don't have on the Converse because I know what I'm about. I know I'm trying to sell and affect and influence a certain group that might not get it, okay? So until I have receipts with them, and it's not, and I don't even think, because I hear a lot of this, that I need to be authentic. I hear that so much. But until you get receipts and you tell me exactly what you can do, and you show me what you can do, you gotta play the game a little bit. And the game is to be professional and to allow your work to stand out, okay? I'm sure one of the things that I love most about working with young people is because you all make me young and you make me really smart around my friends, my peers, because you all tell me, oh, why don't you just go ahead and use the WhatsApp? Oh, really? Okay, I'll do that. Or you'll say, you know, why don't you, it's always you're bringing me something that I can use to help you be more efficient. What I need for young people to understand is, just like you have something to bring to me, my wisdom has a lot to offer to you. And what I notice, the biggest mistakes that I'm seeing are young people coming in and being very cocky about how they would do it. Versus, there's technology that absolutely can help, okay? But there's also something called EQ and social soft skills that only time and experience can really help you to develop and become a little bit more, I call it polished, okay? And the way that you can learn those skills is to be quiet sometimes and to listen. So knowing how to read the room, knowing how to finesse your point, okay? It's very important. You might have something that would be really great that you want to tell me, but I also have a life too, right? So oftentimes that life is real heavy. So I'll come in the office and you'll notice I'll be quiet. So you got to be able to read people. Right now might not be the best time to go over there and tell her that the shelves in the back all fell down or we lost all of what we had on the computer. Finessing the moment, reading the room, and making sure that you dress for where you want to be. Those are the mistakes that are really kind of, I think, outstanding. Because we don't expect you all to be perfect, you all are interns. And we want to be able, and being teachable. Arrogance and those types of things, those are also, and I'm going to let everyone else talk. I just had to, this really happened. I asked an intern, hey, we had all these computers that came in. I said, I need you to break down these boxes. And he said to me, oh, I'm not good at breaking down boxes. You can ask my mom. And at first I was waiting for the not, and I should go talk to your mother.
Okay.
Okay? So on that note, I pass it over.
Oh my God, yeah, we're right here. We're right here. And I'm listening to you, and I had an intern recently, and I guess, your story, she was so receptive to learning. And I could appreciate that, you know. She was so receptive to, oh my God, today we need to stay here till 8 o'clock because we had so much work. And she was always like, no problem, fine. She was always well dressed. And you know, when I was an intern, I remember one time somebody said, can you come with me to this very important meeting? And there were other interns, and I was like, absolutely. And I said, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate the opportunity to assist you. And they were like, do you know why I invited you? And I said, no. They said, there's other interns, but you always are well dressed. And that stuck to me. If you are always ready for that big meeting, like Erica said, and like you said, that's going to come. It's going to manifest itself. I remember when I was an executive, I was doing a show. This is before I got into the nonprofit space. And I had just finished wrapping up a really, really great show. And I was like, oh my God, what's next, right? Because our shows had an end date. And somebody called me and said, hey, Solana, are you in such and such building right now? I said, yes. They said, somebody's looking for a new director for a new position. Can you go? But I think you're 5 minutes away if they're getting ready to leave. And I said, thank goodness I always dress for success because I had on the right clothing and I literally had to pop in a meeting with them, but I was ready. And I felt ready because I was prepared, I was dressed, and I was, like you said, manifesting. Something great's going to come, and if you dress for something great is going to happen. And so always being receptive to learning, not acting like you know everything, because we just clearly do not know everything every day. I learn from my interns that we have as well, and they learn from me as well. But just always dress for success because the success is going to come and follow you. You're going to manifest it. And be humble, because when you go somewhere to learn, and maybe practice, I'm going to give you some homework. Think about, and I tell this to my 2 younger sisters all the time. My sister just had a baby yesterday. And my mom, we were in the delivery room, and my mom was telling her, this is how you do this. And I noticed my sister was a little bit, I tell you the story, it has a reason. Sorry, it's going to go somewhere. But she said, Mom, I don't think I should do it like this. I said, sis, if Mom is giving you her words of knowledge, she raised us 3. Just take it in. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything back. That intern didn't have to tell you, well, my mom couldn't know. That intern could have said, okay, I'm not good at this at home, but maybe I can learn from you. And you would have appreciated that, am I right? And so same thing with you guys. Maybe there's things that, go back and think about how your relationship with your parent is, and take that into the workspace. How do you get more from your parents? You are receptive, you listen, you are obedient, you take it in, and you're humble about it. And they're going to respect you more for that, and guess what? You're going to become their favorite child. And same thing in the office space. Just take that same relationship and try to see that the more that you give, that you listen, that you take notes, and that you allow yourself to learn, the more they're going to appreciate you, and you're going to be able to take more advantage on the opportunities that come.
I'll be quick. But, so what I look for in young people are really 2 things. Because you're young, you're growing, you're developing, you're still developing a lot of your technical skill, you're still discovering what it is you're good at, your strengths are, and what you really want to do. So the 2 things that I really look for is that, one, you're a critical thinker. And the second is that you're authentic. And so authenticity and being a critical thinker means that you're situationally aware. So every organization and every industry isn't going to necessarily have the same dress standards, right? But you are a critical thinker. You are situationally aware. You can do a little research. You can walk into a room and see social cues and how people are behaving. And you can say, okay, in order for me to relate and to connect with people here, I need to be on the same wavelength. I've had natural hair for years. I mean, my CEO has black locks. I have blonde locks. But we work in philanthropy with the high-level leaders and businesses and corporations and community leaders, right? So we have to be adaptive and agile. right? I can't necessarily go to the South Bronx to do work, so I'm giving out literacy kits or working with teachers in schools, dressed necessarily the way that I would be dressed. But I'm situationally aware, and I can think critically about what do I need to be for this particular moment. The other thing on authenticity is, I don't care how many degrees somebody has, or what school you went to, or who you think you know. If you are not kind, if you are not respectful, if you are not compassionate, if you don't know how to talk to people, the future of work is going to really require you to be able to be in relationship with others and people who are different from you, who don't always agree with you. But you can disagree with respect and kindness. I call it being a warm demander, right? Or really being compassionate, right? Like being like totally honest, but totally kind. So be a good human being when you go into the workplace. A lot of the technical skills will come, and quite frankly, jobs are changing so much, you're going to have to be agile and adaptable and situationally aware. The jobs of today won't necessarily be the job 10 years from today. So be a critical thinker, be authentic, and be kind.
And I think everything was already said, but one of the things that I look to you all, because you're world leaders, when you're entering spaces, one of the things I was able to do is actually set a tone of leadership. You all already are leaders. When you walk in your humility and in learning jobs, continue to keep your personal stamp of who you are. One of my first jobs was at a labor union called SEIU. That is a grouping of individuals who clean up hotels and are janitors of buildings and are nurses and a number of different people who care for others. And one of the things I learned from the CEOs, my very first job out of school, was our president knew the name of every single service person in that building. And so I learned a precedent of if Jorge or Tamika or whomever is at the front desk or whomever is working around me, most executives will walk right by those people every day. You all know this because you're coming from families around communities where your grandparents and your mothers are working those positions. I have really demonstrated leadership in every job. I learned the names of all the people in the building, at least the folks who are taking out my garbage, or if I'm walking in the front, they're making sure my desk is clean. I'm walking in, they're making sure we're safe. Learn the names of those people. And call them by their name and influence your colleagues to learn their names as well. And that's how you show leadership, and it will differentiate you. One of the things I've always had people come out of jobs, Charmaine, you always know so many people. How do you know? I've had CEOs say that to me when I've been the intern, right? And so that people remember that part of your character, they remember that part of your integrity, and it also helps you to influence the environment you're in for better.
Let's recap. They just threw, like he's drinking water from a fire hydrant. From this mark, just this panel alone, like, whatever you paid to get here, it was worth it, just from right here. But just some of those skills, some of those things that they're looking for, that's going to just not take you where you want to go in your career, but who do you want to become as a person? And this stuff is not about your career, it's about becoming a better human being. And just, a lot of these things were simple. It was kindness. It was humility. It was a servant's heart. It was just being open, listening, right? We've got one mouth and 2 ears. You should be listening twice as much as you should be speaking, okay? But it's coming into these environments, being adaptable, being flexible, okay? Those things are going to take you far. And I didn't say you need to know math. I didn't say you need to know algorithms. I didn't say anything technical. That was all these soft skills, this emotional intelligence that wherever you're working, you're going to be working with people. And if you can work with people well, you can do any job well. All right? And I love the opportunity that you had, right? And some people say, people are just lucky. Luck is where preparation meets opportunity. So if you are prepared for that moment, luck will find you. You will be ready for it. All right? But you've heard enough from me, but I want to hear what you guys have for the panel. And we had a hand way back in the back. Right? Okay. Back there, sir, stand up, speak loud.
All right, can y'all hear me?
Yes, can we have your name first?
Yes, hi, my name is Alea. I go to North Carolina Central University. Shout out to the ABCs. So I do have a question, and I'm glad that you guys mentioned hair. I actually cut my hair. I had a huge afro like this too. And I do plan on growing my hair out. How would you manage natural hair and like in a professional setting?
So like I said before, if you have innovated or created something that you're basically, you are your brand and you are your company, and you're going to make meetings with people to sell this new innovation to, you're good. You come however you want, because what you're really selling at that moment is your knowledge, your technology. But when you think about having to go and work in an environment, you have to be situationally aware. So if you're going to be at Deloitte, which is totally conservative, you got to cut that fro, because what you have to do right now is you have to learn whatever it is. Right now, entry level, you're just learning. Just soak it all up. Learn. You're learning what you don't want. You're learning what you do want, right? So you need to be able to, I hate the word assimilate, okay, because I think there's pros and cons, but there is something good about assimilation, okay? If you still keep yourself, it's yourself, right? You haven't lost yourself, you just changed your hair for a minute. But the minute you get what you need and you're able to, because I've worked in so many different industries. I used to be director of marketing at Motown Records. I could dress however I wanted to dress. But you know how I stood out amongst people who came in dressed any kind of way? Because I always stayed real top professional in a very casual environment. That's how they start to see me, like, oh wow, she's really about it. I wasn't really always about it, but I looked about it, okay? So, being able to be smart enough to know how. So, my natural hair now, I can wear it however. Last week I had a weave. It was like right here, it was fabulous, and it was blue at the ends, right? But you gotta know when and how. I'm also saying, when I first got out of school, I had an afro, we both went to Howard, so, you know. But I was in PR, and it was like pre-Facebook. This is like 2003. So I actually, I didn't straighten my hair, I actually permed it, right? I'm not telling any of you all to change who you are, but look at the opportunities that you have, and if you need to assimilate for a little while to get information so that you can impact your community or whatever you are passionate about, don't let sort of a personal preference stand in the way of you accessing whatever it is you have, because you can always grow your hair back. I have natural hair back again. Sometimes you can sort of just do twists, or you can try to do braids or different things. So if you don't want to cut your hair off, you necessarily don't have to. But absolutely know, and we're not going to tell you a lie, that you will sort of be judged based upon the corporate culture or wherever you are. And a lot of times you really do, if you're entry level and you don't have credentials yet, you want people to be receptive to working with you versus being afraid to talk to you just because of your hair. And the world shouldn't be that way. Hopefully you can get in and become a VP, and people who work under you can come in however they want to, right? That's the goal. But until then, I think that you just really need to be situationally aware, as we're all saying, and do a cost-benefit analysis. Do I want this opportunity enough? Is it going to get me to my North Star, my life mission enough? Then I'm willing to sacrifice my afro for 5-6 months. You know what I mean? You just sort of have to decide when you're applying. And then sometimes you might be like, look, my hair is important. So that's when you start finding companies like Bevel or other companies that will be happy to have you with your full name, right? So it's really up to you how you navigate that. But do know that every company is very different. And when you first come in, it's advantageous for you to sort of learn and then sort of be who you are.
Yeah, I would say, I'm a big component of aligning who I am with my purpose and my passion and my work. And so it comes up to being that critical thinker, making a choice, this cost-benefit analysis, as she said, like where are you trying to go? Who are you trying to be? What's really important to you? What do you love and value? That's what, the message I really want to leave all of you. And regardless of what style, particularly today, there's so many options that look fabulous. Just make sure it's clean, it's, you know what I'm saying? Be professional, regardless of whether it's twist or braids or weave. Come with yourself, looking presentable so that people feel like they want to engage with you. You're not repelling others.
I just want to add one quick note. Some of you all are probably not even understanding how valuable the hair conversation is. I work in the D&I space, diversity and inclusion. It's a big, big conversation because hair has value, but it also has a bigger conversation in an African-American context, because we are working as minorities in oftentimes majority situations. And if you have not grown up in a diverse situation, and this is your first time meeting African American people or just Black people, from around the diaspora, oftentimes you will find yourself so enamored with your hair, that person's hair. You might even want to touch it. Stop, don't do it, okay? That's a no-no. Don't do it. So this is really a cultural conversation that in a broader sense today, we're not here to talk about that broader sense, but it is a big deal, okay? So that's why I like that question from you. Tell me your name again? Alea. And thank you. Thank you.
I just want to say, you make me think of something around change leadership. Think about that, change leadership. Oftentimes when you have to change something, you really have to look at that situation and go, what are the levers that I need to pull to get from where I am, or to change the situation from where it is to a future state, really where it needs to be. And so again, being adaptive, being situation aware, thinking critically about the situation and the things you want to change as a leader, right, are going to help you get smarter more quickly about like how you need to show up.
Change leadership in the Circle of Change conference. Coincidence? I think not.
Hi, good afternoon, ladies. I just want to say that you guys are all amazing. My name is Nubi, and I just have a quick question. I'm looking with my friend to start a nonprofit organization to help benefit Latin American communities that have been affected by political governments that aren't helping them, and we want to work with countries that are more open-minded and are assisting these refugees from these countries to help outsource food, medical supplies, clothing. And I just want to ask some advice that you guys have to network with people that would be willing to help us get started, or help us with some information to maybe like find money, because it's something that we're both very passionate about, but we're having a very difficult time since we are college students to find people that trust us with this kind of responsibility, and we do just want to get started and help these communities that have less than us, and want to help them get back on their feet in these new countries that they're now calling home.
Do you have a business plan?
I do. It's 95% finished, but we are communicating with embassies that are in the DC area that are actually stating that they have no relation with the countries that they, like Venezuela and Nicaragua, they have no connection to the government there, and they just want to assist the community in Costa Rica, Panama, and Colombia and Bolivia that are accepting refugees from these two countries at the moment. And right now we did get a donation of $1,000 to get started and start planning a website, but we are trying to just get started, get off the ground and help these communities get started with more information.
I mean, the number one thing I commend you, right? So, corporate America wants to give you money, but you have to show up buttoned up, right? You have to have the correct business plan. I would challenge you to look at companies like Coca-Cola, like, even a Deloitte, like bigger corporations that have money and are looking to allocate funds. But when you approach them, you have to approach them very buttoned up. Once again, this comes down to communications. Yes, your website should be built, it should have some kind of advocacy, it should have your pillars, and it should state clearly what the goal is and what's in it for them, right? So for them, believe it or not, if you have a cool logo that's part of your brand for what you're doing for your nonprofit, they're going to happily take that, give you a couple of dollars, right, and stick it on their website and say that you're supporting it. You have to align your mission with organizations that also have that similar mission. So, but congratulations, that's amazing work.
Tell me your name again.
Newbie.
Newbie. First of all, congratulations for paying attention to your calling. I want to give you. I will share with you that my best friend and I started to get away from TV and more into the nonprofit space because I paid attention to my calling. I was on a trip to the Dominican Republic, I share with you, similar to you, and I just visited an orphanage to go speak to some girls about the same situation we're talking about, right? We're in a totally different setting. We're talking about a third world country where women do not have the opportunities that women have here. And I said to them, at the time I was doing a show, it was called, you might be familiar with it, Sweet 16, but it was the Latin version. And they said, they were giddy, and they said, we know who you are. And I said, I don't know who I am, who am I? And they were like, you do the Quinceañera show, which is the Sweet 15 for the Latin culture. And I said, you know, quickly, I said to them, would you guys like to have a king's head, right? And then they said, we're too poor for that, there's no way. And my heart just like left my chest. And there, I had the mission to talk to them about, I said anything is possible, like you said. And so I said, you know, I'm going to take my own money. And I talked to my best friend and I told her about it. She said, you can count on some of my money. And then I told my mom about it. She said, you can count on some of mine. And then some people who couldn't give money, they just donated shoes. Some people donated dresses. And it turned into the most beautiful work that I have ever done in my life. And I did not get paid for it to do. But I got paid in a different way, right? We got paid because we accomplished something that we were set to do for somebody else. And that is the most powerful thing we will ever do. Ever. To this day, that is my most prized labor of love. And I say that to say continue and see what you have more resources than you think you know. You have a lot of people who believe in you. You can come to me at the end and I will see how I can help you, whether it's with whatever resources I have. But I tell you my story because my thing skyballed and it started as an idea, just like yours. And I started to work hard. I mean, I kind of became obsessed with getting the mission done. And for 3 months I barely slept because there's so much involved and so many people and you're traveling and you're putting travel together. You know, I was doing it on a limited budget that me, myself, and my family were working on. But I say that to say that it turned into something big. Some people I knew about said, no, wait, Sammy Sosa's daughter donated her dress to a girl in the Dominican Republic because she found out about it and she said, I need to be a part of this. So if you pay attention to the calling and you stay there, have a lot of faith, okay? The faith is going to get you through to do this mission that you had to do. And you're going to touch a lot of lives. So just stay focused, and you have more resources than you know. You already have the desire, that's all you need first. And you will have my support already, and I'm sure that a lot of people that you love will believe in you and help you as well. So congratulations.
And I'll be very, very quick, only because I used to be an organizer. And so half of don't always think about things as money. And so since you're at college, I don't know if you already started like a club at your college, but if you probably have, I would look at like GoFundMe. I would call your Congress people and tell them about it. I would contact LULAC. I don't know if you've ever heard of LULAC, but if there's a LULAC chapter on your campus. So I would sort of use, as we were mentioning, the resources that are already available to you to start the buzz, to get the website out, go up to the School of Communication, see if somebody will do it for free to start bartering services, go up to the law school if there's one anywhere in your area, see if they can help you get the appropriate incorporation. Sometimes people do in-kind services for you that will help you get the foundation that you need in order to sort of then, later on, you know, maybe you're a young CEO when you first got out of college of your organization, right? And then you can start approaching companies. But definitely think very critically about, even if it's not money, what does this person know how to do that and help me build this organization where I am, where there are like-minded people around me who will join me in my mission, and just walk in it as if it exists, and it will come to pass.
Yeah, I was just going to say I commend you on your entrepreneurial spirit, but at the core of being entrepreneurial is being in a constant state of learning, testing, experimenting, failing, getting really comfortable with failure, and then learning, testing, experimenting, and failing. I have one resource in mind that you can go to, so what is called the Foundation Center, and they have a lot of resources for people who want to start a nonprofit or are thinking about doing philanthropic work in any way, shape, or form. You can also meet with me after, like you were saying, like I have a young woman who just started her own food justice nonprofit. So there are people who've done it, who have walked that path that you need to be in community with, like immediately who you can learn from. And to their point, right, like wealth and abundance is all around you. It doesn't always mean cash, it can be a connection. That's called social capital, right? You know somebody who knows somebody, and you never know, which is why kindness is very important, right? Even if somebody doesn't look the part, you never know who you are speaking to and how they might help you or connect you with someone or something that can help you. So reach out, I can give you some of those connections.
Forgive me, we're going to have to close that question and answer, but we're going to have a short break after this, and I think our panelists may be gracious enough to meet you guys out in the foyer. So if you guys have any additional questions, they'd be more than happy to. If you could please, in 30 seconds, what is the word you want to leave to these students? Whoever's got.
Kindness.
Kind. Boom.
Curiosity. Stay curious throughout your whole entire life. Don't ever get to a place where you feel like you know it all.
Okay.
Intentional. Be intentional with yourselves, what you want to do. Know yourselves.
Receptiveness. Be very receptive to all of the great things that you know are going to come your way. If you believe in yourself and you are receptive for great things to come, and you're receptive to learn, to have an open mind, to be still and to listen, wonderful things are going to happen.
You all the world leaders, I just expect you to change the world. I look forward to seeing you all in your capacities, operating, and just change the world. I'm looking forward to it. I know you're done.
Give them a round